Okay, moving on to the jejunum and the ileum, which we will summarise often as just been calling it small intestine. We'll look at digestion, transport and return to vitamin B12. So the small intestine. As discussed previously, chyme has been transported in small amounts to the duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine. This then links the jejunum, followed by the ileum. As previously noted, there's no clear borderline between these two. Surface area is important. The surface area of the small intestine is 100 times more than the surface area of the skin. This is essential for the efficient absorption of nutrients. It has finger-like villi which extend into the lumen, that is to say the interior space of the small intestine, so greatly increasing the surface area for absorption of nutrients. These villi are coated with hair-like microvilli, which greatly increase the surface area for absorption. Under the microscope they look something like brushes, sometimes referred to as the brush border. Rings of muscle in the small intestine repeatedly contract and relax in a process called segmentation. This mixes chyme with other digestive juices without yet driving the contents to the rest of the digestive tract. Each day considerable amounts of water and other macronutrients are transported across the small intestine wall and into the blood or lymphatic system. And there's some quantifications there, so quite large amounts. Okay, so transport across the gut wall. Water and some minerals will cross membranes due to a simple concentration gradient. This is a form of passive transport which you'll cover in cellular biology if you haven't done already. In the case of most of the molecules, energy is needed to allow the transport across membranes, that is to say active transport. In some cases, such as glucose or amino acids or vitamin B12, specific transporters or carriers are needed. You can read up on these yourself, but we will briefly discuss vitamin B12. Actually quite a good video there if you want to have a look at the differences. A good set of resources there. Linked in the notes. After transport across the gut wall, nutrients usually enter the bloodstream. An exception is triglycerides, which are transported into the lymphatic system in small molecules called silomicrons. More about them in a moment, and you will discuss them in other contexts in the terms of LDL and HDL. There's a video linked here for more information about this, which again is well worth having a look at in your own time. Okay, so what happens? Digestive lipids mix with bile salts and are ferried to the mucosa where they are coated with lipoproteins, producing small structures of a micelle-like formation. As with the surfactants we discussed earlier, they fold in such a way that hydrophobic triglycerides, let's say fats, are hidden from the aqueous environment, while hydrophilic parts of the molecule are exposed to the outside. This allows transport of triglycerides around the body, again by the forms which you may have heard of LDL and HDL. These silomicrons subsequently travel via the thoracic duct to the bloodstream, so they leave the lymph system and join the bloodstream. Okay, vitamin B12. As mentioned earlier, transcobalamin 1 is sometimes called intrinsic factor, is produced by the salivary glands and forms the haptocorrin vitamin B12 complex. This protects vitamin B12 from acid degradation in the stomach acids. In the duodenum, this complex is broken down, releasing vitamin 12, which continues its journey. The released vitamin B12 now binds to the somewhat generically named intrinsic factor, which is a glycoprotein, and is then absorbed by gut enterocytes, that is to say cells lining the gut wall. Here it binds to another glycoprotein, transcobalamin 2, and is then transported to tissues via the bloodstream. Okay, further down, moving towards the large intestine, which I'm not going to cover in any detail here. We discussed the large intestine in the context of the of the gut biome in an earlier module. Digestive activity in the stomach promotes the gastroileal reflex, which we mentioned before, which promotes peristalsis, a fish tank-like motion. fish tank pump-like motion, pushing contents down the rest of the gastrointestinal tract. This reflex helps ensure the contents of a meal are completely emptied from both stomach and small intestine before the next meal is ingested. It can take up to 5 hours for all of the chyme to leave the stomach and the small intestine. Right, that's all for now. I'll be back in a minute.